evening, gamers. It is I, me. Hello. I forgot to get some music. I need to actually go and do that. Oh, I'm also in the wrong... There we go. I was in the wrong, like, sound setting. Had it coming out of my speakers instead of out of this. This duct tape ass piece of shit. Oh no, this is the wrong... I will get copy striked if I play my actual playlist. And, oh no, yeah, understandably, because it's full of copyrighted music, funnily enough. I just like had a playlist in, and I was like, oh shit, no, I don't want to play that. There was a point recently where I was playing like my ambient playlists, and I was like, I didn't even realize I was doing it. I was like, oh shit, no. I was like, oh, this doesn't sound like Harris Heller. What is this? Oh no, this is John Battle. Fuck. That was I think it was like 3 weeks ago or so that I ended up doing that. Oh god, I need to clear my throat. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh. Nope. No, it did work. Okay. I'm hoping that didn't come through. I don't actually know. Right. Let me go to my list of spell ideas. Because I have quite a few. I have one that I think I'm definitely going to start with. But basically, I'm done with like my big, like, I want to make magic, redesign all my magic items project. Like, that is just actively done now, and I don't need to do it anymore. Well, I'll do it on stream anyway. And so today I'm just gonna chill out and just make spells, because that's like the kind of shit that I do because I like doing it. I just sit down and I make spells. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna probably go until like 7:30. And then if I want to keep going, then I will. And if I don't, then I won't. I need to stop looking over here because I'm looking at myself on the other screen. Because I don't know, I'm like looking at someone when I'm talking. It just so happens to be myself when I should be looking here. I guess it's the ring light is maybe making me not want to look at it. I don't know. I'm just not. I need to train myself to not look over here. There we go, let's point and look there. I think it's because I can't see myself speaking, so I can't see if I'm like doing... I'm doing it now. I'm still just looking at myself. Maybe I need to just like close Streamlabs, just like have it so I can't see it. But then again, I won't notice. I don't know. Like, that is the thing I do actually need like to cover it up today, because a lot of my notes are in Discord and I have Discord up in the corner, so I'm going to cover myself and force myself to look at the camera. Hi. So awkward. Good god. Okay. I'm going to shut up now and actually start working. So, this is the document where I've done like all of my spell work, and there's also a bunch of magic items in here as well. These are like the magics I've the spells I have made on stream, some of the magic items. So here's the smite spells that we did last year. Here's a bunch of the class exclusive spells that we did. I think I finished a lot of these in my own time. Wait, I say that. I definitely finished a lot of these in my own time. And then these are the magic items. These are some of the magic items in repository 2 you can see over here. Or like a lot of these magic items are in there. So if you... Obviously, I didn't actually finish this in this document, but it is done in the actual thing. It's not just a magic item, it just isn't finished. So don't worry about that. But either way, right, I'm going to shut up. And so I don't have a name for this spell yet, so I'm just going to put it at the end. This is, yes, H2 header. But yeah, I don't have a name for this spell yet, so I'm just going to call it !, blade. Probably an evocation cantrip. One action. Oh, hang on, I need to like... Oh shit. No, this isn't actually like done properly. Oh, do I just shift enter? I do just... Yeah, that's what I've actually been doing in this doc. I've completely forgotten like how I've laid this fucking document out. It's been such a long time since I've looked at it. I need to clear my throat again. Okay, right. Now let me look. So this is sort of an alternative to Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade. Because one thing I actually like, I really hated Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade as they were in Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Mostly just because the way that they worked and they were crazy abusable, and they updated them for Tasha's, and it turns out Booming Blade is like the best thing to happen to this game in years. Like this new version of Booming Blade is like amazing for the game because it opens up so many builds. It makes Arcane Trickster legitimately a good like class, which is like that spell, that cantrip on its own makes Arcane Trickster good. And even Green Flame Blade, which is like kind of is generally much worse than Booming Blade. But it's still a fun spell. It's still a pretty good spell. It's genuinely really, really great. Like, if you can get Booming Blade on a rogue in any capacity, fucking do it. Like, if you're a high elf rogue, pick Booming Blade. That's your cantrip. Pick it. Just pick it. It's so good. Because casting Booming Blade, you still make a weapon attack, you still get your sneak attack. So you cast Booming Blade as a rogue, and then you disengage and walk away. And if they decide to come after you, then they take damage. They take extra damage from Booming Blade. At level 1, there's just the damage from them moving, but from level 5 onwards, it's just a flat increase to your damage as a rogue, at no cost. Like, I guess they can counter it, but, like, they're still countering a cantrip, which I guess does eat your turn, so there's some scenarios where it's actually, worth it, but most DMs aren't going to do that. If you are a rogue, get Booming Blade. If you have access to Booming Blade as a rogue, pick it. Like, if you're an Arcane Trickster, auto-pick Booming Blade. Like, for the reasons I have described, it is the best possible spell. Also, if you're a Blade Singer, must pick on Blade Singer as well. Green Flame Blade is also a great pick on Blade Singer, just not as generically useful. Booming Blade is just, like, mind-blowing in just how good it is. If you want to be a Blade Singer, be a proper, like, melee Blade Singer, Booming Blade, and the mobile feat. So, like, if you want to get it online early, Vooman, pick mobile, Booming Blade. You go in, hit them, you walk away. If you were already in melee with them for whatever reason, then you can walk away, and you walk away so far that they have to dash to get to you because you've got 40-foot speed. So they take damage, and they can't reach you without dashing, which is just insane. It's just how good that is. It's incredible. But we're going to try and make a spell that is... I mean, Booming Blade is like the upper echelon, where like Booming Blade is like so good that it's like pushing being too good. But it's so good in like a really fun way because it's just numbers, right? Booming Blade is all that. It is numbers and nothing more. Because like a unhealthy spell that's too good is a spell that like shuts down a fight entirely just by casting it. Like Wall of Force and Force Cage are like actively problem spells that just aren't fun at a table, like, at all. Whereas on the flip side, something like, Fireball, for instance. Fireball is explicitly overtuned, like by design it is overtuned. But no one cares because it's just damage, and damage is kind of irrelevant. So yeah, welcome in. You've sort of caught the end of my spiel about how good Booming Blade is, and why it's genius design. Or maybe you caught all of it. I don't actually know. I was tabbed out of the chat, but yeah, basically, Booming Blade is a good spell. If you're an Arcane Trickster, it's a must. If it's a must pick, and if you're a Blade Singer, it's also a must pick. Like, you have to take it. It's that good. It makes Arcane Trickster viable, which is awesome. Because Arcane Trickster is cool, but very, very bad. Like, overwhelmingly bad. Right, let me grab the wording for Green Flame Blade. I also need to clear my fucking throat again, Jesus. Self. A melee weapon worth at least 1 silver piece. instantaneous. Right. This is just the text for Booming Blade, or no, this is Green Flame Blade, but I'm gonna... is Booming Blade thunder or lightning damage? It's thunder. Yeah, say the my assumption was that it was that it was thunder, but I had vague memories that it was actually lightning. But no, it is thunder damage. You would think, given the name, that it was thunder, and that was my assumption. But I like Berenstein bared myself into thinking it was thunder. Suffers hang on. Where's Booming Blade? I call this Gale Blade, or Magical Wind Currents. See, both of the other spells have like an extra damage roll, but this one also has a secondary effect that's also like legitimately really powerful. The next time you hit the target... And you can immediately move into an order of 65 feet of the attack's target. With a weapon attack. The target then becomes surrounded by whistling winds until the end of your next turn. The next time you hit the target with a weapon attack, for 1d4 force damage, and the spell ends. And the damage and the the spell seems too pushed. This spell is undoubtedly far too pushed, I think. It does too much. I think, anyway. It's cool. It's a very cool spell, but it is definitely too good. It's fun on a rogue. It's fun on a sorcerer as well. It's very fun on a sorcerer, in fact. Oh, this is still listed as thunder. Should be force. So you hit a creature, you then get to move into another space within 5 feet of them. Which, well, most of the time that's not actually that relevant. And then the next time you hit them with a weapon attack, they take extra damage. Which is much less conditional than Green Flame Blade. Green Flame Blade, or Booming Blade even. The extra damage for Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade requires... Green Flame Blade requires a second creature to take the damage, and Booming Blade requires the creature to move. And if you are within 5 feet of them, which for most of the time they will be, That's very conditional, whereas this is you just have to hit them again before the end of your next turn, which is not conditional. That's like, of course you're going to do that. You're probably just going to cast this spell again. So, yeah. That's a bot. Yeah, I think the lack of sort of conditionality with the secondary damage means it definitely needs to be neutered at that 1d4. My main sort of thought, at least. Let me go check Booming Blade. Is Booming Blade just D8 D8? Yeah, it is. And then Green Flame Blade is okay. With a subsequent weapon attack increase. This is the kind of spell that I think definitely needs extra pairs of eyes looking on it, because I'm like looking at it and feeling unsure on it, but I conceptually really like it. So I think for now, emphasis on for now, I feel okay about it. But as for like the rest of them, I'm not as sure. Like I feel okay about it, but I'm not like 100% on it either. But it's cool. Is I think the main thing, and it does have it does have sort of a distinctive use. Like there are instances where, like, as a blade singer or as a sorcerer, you would want to use this instead. There is also the opportunity of, like, I'm gonna disagree with you there. In fact, the rule of cool has a very finite usage as far as I'm concerned. Like DMs can invoke the rule of cool as much as they want, and you know, obviously that's like their DMing style. As long as all their players are fine with it, then there's nothing wrong with that. But on a game design standpoint, the rule of cool should never ever come into play. Obviously, you can do something because you want to do something cool. That's fine, but it has to be rules compliant and, you know, at least reasonably balanced. Like, you can break new ground. You can, like, you know, push the envelope a bit on design, and do something unique. But the rule of cool, in sort of the traditional sense, is not something that should be in design in that. Yeah, I think the main thing with the rule of cool is it is inherently not particularly fair. And sort of taking a lot of quotes out of Joe's playbook here. I think he's in here at the moment, but it is sort of generically, or generally, should I say, not particularly fair, because what the DM thinks is cool is not going to be perfectly in line with what the players want to do, and most DMs are not, well, a lot of rule of cool heavy DMs are not. I did indeed. I was bot hunting before, but a lot of rule of cool DMs are not very consistent, or will make a call once, and then players will expect it to become the norm, and then it just ruins games. It does have its place. It can be used. Like if someone wants to do something cool and it has no mechanical bearing, then totally, like, fucking let them go ahead and do that. Like, as long as it, you know, it has no mechanical impact and it doesn't infringe on your verisimilitude or the other player's verisimilitude, or doesn't, like, break the fantasy of your game that you're running, then fucking go for it. But the second players start to ask to sort of bypass rules or mechanics, then it becomes a bit of a problem, as far as I'm concerned. And it can be done fine. Yeah, I think the sort of the rule of cool asks for inconsistency, which sometimes is fine, and but I think the rule of cool is something to be used with a great degree of caution, rather than sort of flippant, you know, sure, whatever. There's more thought that needs to go into it, in my eyes at least, than a lot of people do put into it, just because of how that works. But that's the way I like to play the game, ultimately, is like, that's how I like to play the game, and how I like the games I play in to be run. So that's just, you know, that's just like my opinion, man, or whatever, I don't know. But the spicy thing I was thinking of with the spell was doing this. Because that's a disengage. That's straight up just disengaging from a creature. Which is very, very strong on a cantrip. I'm gonna put that in there, and I'm gonna fucking red text it. Like, immediately. Because I'm actually just gonna put in 5/10, and I'm gonna red text, or I'll put in brackets here /5, just because of, like, I will need to, like, sit down and have a discussion about this spell with people before I put it anywhere near my game, in either form, just because I think there's so many avenues that I can't explore just sitting here thinking about it right now. It's cool though. I think that's the main thing. It's the, you know, you get to do your fucking anime / move, and you get to do it as a cantrip, so you get to do it all the time. That's cool, and that's, like, exactly the fantasy I would want out of that. But is it super broken? Quite possibly. My main concern is that the 5-foot version is kind of bad, and the 10-foot version is, like, actually, like, kind of game-breakingly powerful. I can very much envision sorcerers casting Gale Blade and then quickening a boom, or casting Booming Blade and then quickening Gale Blade, as just a free disengage. Not spells that have, like, destroyed games, but I have made spells that have been distinctly unfun. Having a power gamer abuse Jodariel's Exiling Impalement on more than one occasion, in a way, it was like, it was an enlightening experience to the fact that spell and the effect that it used to have before I changed it was just like something that should never be in a game. Because every time it was cast, it always just made the game, it would add another 30 minutes to a combat in a way that was super frustrating to everybody at the table, and it sucked. I think that was certainly the most negative experience I've had with the spell that I've made, but I've since changed it, so it's kind of fine now. Basically, what the spell did is you make a melee spell attack, and against a creature within 10 feet of you. On a hit, you do a pretty considerable amount of damage. The damage was irrelevant. It was like a fairly sizable cherry on top of the cake. Like, it was good damage. But then it would curse them with a curse that meant that they were invisible to all creatures except you, and all creatures except you were invisible to them. They were still present, they weren't banished or anything, but the only thing that they could see was you, and the only thing that could see them was also you. Which, on a surface level, sounds fine, but it also wasn't concentration, and Otaluk's Resilient Sphere does exist. So what would happen is this wizard would cast it and have a contingency Otaluk's Resilient Sphere, so this enemy would come after them and attack them. I think it was like, not even invisible, it was like they couldn't even perceive other creatures. They could feel themselves being harmed, but they couldn't sense them in any way. It was like they were hidden from them at all times. And it was... Yeah, it was the kind of thing that was just too abusable. There are a couple other spells that were like, oh, this is like, oh, this was an oversight of like, oh, the way I worded this means it works in the way I don't want it to. Like, there's been plenty of those, like, and those just get fixed, right? There's something I made, so I can go and fix them, and it's, you know, it's like, rules as intended, the spell does not work this way. So I'm gonna go fix it, whereas Jodariel's was just actively just a flaw in design. Like, it just shouldn't have been made. So I changed it, and it now does. I mean, it still has the same flavor of like banishing someone, but now it literally just does a bunch of damage, and then they save against being banished. Like, it is the banishment spell, but does a lot more damage, and lasts a lot longer, I think. And that's what Jodariel's does now, as opposed to like the weird kind of invisibility thing that it did. Which is a shame, because it was a really unique effect, but it was just like, I think there was like 5 or 6 fights where they just ground to a halt. Usually right near where they were about to come to like a really natural conclusion anyway, of players were like whittling the enemy down really low, then we would do something really big, and they'd be like, oh, we're all really low now too, and then this wizard would like cast the spell thinking that the fight was still going, and it was like, no, this person's on like 7 hit points, and it would stretch out the fight for another like 3 rounds, like every time, and add another like half an hour to an hour on top of a fight for literally no reason. And it sucked. It was fucking terrible. There are a surprising amount of spells like in the base game that have a very similar effect of just like, well, not a similar effect, but they trivialize or make combat frustrating in a number of ways. Wall of Force and Force Cage are the 2 big ones. Wall of Stone is also particularly egregious. Hypnotic Pattern is kind of like in the general kind of zone of being like kind of unreasonably good. Like, it's definitely too good for what it is. It's not horrifically unhealthy for the game, I don't think, but at the same time, like, the way Hypnotic Pattern works makes it like an absurdly good spell, as opposed to just like a really, you know, if the targets of Hypnotic Pattern got save at the end of each of their turns, it would still be amazing. It would still be an incredible spell, but they don't get a save, so it's like actively one of the best spells in the entire game if you use it in any way efficiently. It's kind of bananas. Oh, that's something I was going to do. If you cast a spell where your speed is 0, you otherwise cannot move, the spell fails. Because you're physically, like, doing your anime/move. Like, you gotta be able to move, otherwise it doesn't work. It's more of a... well, I guess it is, like, a legitimate nerf to the spell, because if you get grappled, you explicitly can't just, like, move out of the grapple. Yeah, either way, I'm gonna move on to the next... sort of the next sort of thing I want to do that's on my list of ideas is Shifting Earth. Now, I'm not sure what level this is going to be. I'm just going to start like fiddling with things, and then just I'm thinking like it's probably going to be like a first or something. Frankly, I'll put for now first level transmutation. Oh, I forgot to put classes on this. That's something classes. It'll probably just be the same as Booming Blade, like Artificer, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard. Yeah, that's probably fine. Right. Oh, I put this in the wrong place. Spelling is hard, apparently. One action. Oh. Range. 60 feet. Components. Classes. Let's give this to Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard. All of those seem fairly appropriate. You alter the earth within... Make this one round. You alter the earth within a 20-foot cube centered on a point that you can see within range. Actually, no, I'll just make this instantaneous. Each creature on the ground within the area look at compulsion. This seems legitimately really interesting. And like genuinely really good. Just spaces that is not. You cannot move a creature. This feels good. I actually really like this. This is a 20-foot cube. Everybody in the area just gets moved around, right? A creature can avoid it with a dex save, but they can either choose to just accept the spell, which does no damage, like it does not hurt them, it doesn't do like nothing of the sort. However, it can move them into a less than like ideal position, and they can choose to make a dex save to avoid this. But if they fail, they are knocked prone. So it's either a creature can just go, no, I'm fine with being moved, or they can try and resist the effect and risk being knocked prone if they fail. Which I think is a really dynamic way of sort of doing this spell. Most of the time, that secondary bit is never going to matter. That, like, a creature will either choose to make the save or they won't choose to make the save. A creature with a bad dex, I guess, won't try and make the save, because it's worse if they try and make it. I guess it's a short or so for each. And huge or larger creatures are unaffected. Because, like, you shouldn't be able to just move the Tarrasque around, right? And I guess maybe you could. You could, like, move the ground under its feet. You know, honestly, actually, no, fuck that. Yeah, you can move the Tarrasque. Who cares? Actually, no. That's too good. And we can make it scale. Oh, shit. It's not on solid ground. Okay, there we go. So it's a little bit neutered in the fact that you can't move creatures like outside of the area, so you do have to be a little more careful with it. But yeah, if you have like an ally who is surrounded, you can cast this spell and just shift the enemies away from them and then towards you. So on their turn they can just fucking leave. Like if your rogue gets out of position or they get spotted or something, you can just go, okay, no, and just help them. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of like actually ways that you can legitimately abuse the spell, but again, this is something that would need like testing and would need to feel useful, to, you know, be useful, obviously. But I feel pretty confident about this. I actually, yeah, I really like this. Yeah, this is a really cool spell. Yeah, I legitimately love this. This is really interesting. And is also, like, I think genuinely really good in a very interesting way. It's not like a must pick, but it's like a very exciting spell to get a hold of, and that seems really fun to me. I had this penned as like a third or a fourth, but like given that it doesn't do damage, oh, my chair is squeaking. But yeah, given that it just doesn't do any damage, I think it's probably fine, right? I don't know. It's the kind of thing that needs testing, but I really like this though. This is awesome. Oh, let me just like, I need to put lines on these, so I remember to move them elsewhere later on. I need to actually put these in like my spell index for my home game, assuming they all make it in, which I imagine they probably will do. Shifting Earth 100% is going in. It's an awesome spell. I love this. I feel like at level 1, this is not the spell you pick at level 1. This is a spell that you start picking up when you're like level 5 or level 7 or something, when you have like an abundance of spell slots that you can occasionally just like sort of melt a spell on this. But yeah, no. This, I really like this, because I absolutely love this spell. Okay, I have a very interesting idea for a spell. Let me go look at Boomer Blade or whatever. Send out 3 arcing slashes. Of magical moonlight. Maybe look at like lightning bolt or something. Hmm. You cast a spell, and after each time, okay, this is... Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball, as they say. The damage is probably too pushed. I just put in numbers to see what I was happy with, right? Obviously, you get 3 saving throws, which for some creatures means that's bad, because they might have succeeded on the first one, despite having a bad dex, and they'll obviously fail the other 2. Or, alternatively, they may have really good dex, which means that whilst... maybe they failed the first one, even though their dex is good, they're obviously going to succeed on the other 2, so it's kind of self-balancing in that respect. It's entirely based on what you're fighting, as to how, as to whether the different saving throws matter. Oh. Remembering to put in the goes around corners so it doesn't give half cover to the creatures behind the first target, which is, I think it must have been Joe that told me that was the funniest thing in the world. It's like, oh yeah, if you target 2 creatures with lightning bolt, the second creature has half cover because the first one is in the way. Which is fucking hilarious. It's so good. Oh, that's the wrong... I was doing tildes. I'm a fool. Let me like check like the damage of this. Spell damage. 6th level spell should do 11d6. This does 12d6 with minor downside and is also a line spell, so your ability to hit lots of creatures with it is limited. Yeah, this damage is actually like kind of fine. If anything, I could potentially push it even more. And wait, no, ignore me. This isn't 11. This isn't 12d6. This is 18d6. This is like, yeah, this is too high. Well, I get. See, this is the thing, right? Is you're either gonna hit, you know, how many creatures are you actually going to be able to hit with all 3 lines, unless they are literally stacked up in a line? The answer is like none. The answer is like 1. Like you've got like 1 target and like all of the targets like little minion dudes, so you kind of, you know, jump, slash, second one, slash again, so you kind of like, let's say you have, let me see if I can actually like represent this in here. I don't think, oh hang on, I might be able to like get open like fucking paint or something and represent it that way. Hang on. Screen capture, here we go. So we can sort of represent it this way, where, where's my fucking mouse? There we go. So you know, let's say your target is like right here, and you're like here or something. You can sort of hop to here, shoot a line going this way. You can then jump up to here, shoot a line going this way, and then you can jump like to here and shoot a final line going down this way. And you'll catch this center dude 3 times and he'll make 3 saving throws, and then you can potentially catch like some extra guys just like hanging out sort of around here, you know, so you get like 2 more guys over here or whatever. They're like lined up real nice for you. It's a very flexible spell that you can do a lot with, and you can use it in a lot of different ways. The ability to jump between making each slash allows you to really angle yourself really, really well. But I'm trying to think of like how often, like how much better is casting this than just casting Fireball, right? I don't know. I think the damage be damned, right? Like the damage can come up or it can come down depending on like what it is, and if the damage is too high, we can bring it down. If it's too low, we can bring it up. It's probably not too low, it's probably too high. But like whatever, that is besides the point. The numbers in most circumstances are kind of irrelevant. You know, you can do as much math as you want, and eventually you will get an answer as to whether your spell does too much damage or not. It's the how do you weigh that, you know, is it doing more damage than it should, actually balanced, because the spell is actually like is neutered by the fact that the targets get multiple saving throws, meaning that they have multiple chances to succeed. But then on the flip side, low dex creatures having multiple chances to fail the saving throw. Does that matter? I don't know. Like how do you what do you mean? Trying to think what the choose the direction for one of the lines. You can fly up to 10 feet without opportunity attacks. Another interesting thing you can do with the spell is, if you're surrounded, you can use the spell and fly away and just blast the people who are surrounding you. Just fucking blow them away. Like, maybe this is actually a 7th level spell, and the spell's actually like bananas in how good it is. And like how much utility it provides. Let me grab like Let me like grab like a random like Roll20 page or something that I don't use or whatever. Let's grab like my own personal Roll20 with some of my characters, or some of like my backup characters on it or whatever. Oh no, this is explicitly the wrong Roll20. Give me a second. Ah, yeah, that'd make sense. Right. Let me go to screen capture again. It says just like my personal Roll20 or whatever. I'm gonna change its background because it's annoying me. I don't like that it's white. I'm gonna change it to grey so I don't get fucking washed out as much. The chat is kind of over here, so it's like basically, hang on. Oh, there we go. We can do that. The chat's a bit more readable now. So, oh, I just need to go grab like some random tokens or whatever. I'll do that in a bit. Alright, no, actually, no, fuck it. I can just make some like whatever tokens. Hang on. So I'm gonna say this square is the player, is the wizard in this context. And I'm just gonna plop down like some random enemies. And I'm gonna decide what they are. I'll make the circles like bad guys or whatever. They can be these white circles. Let's say you have a large creature here. You have a creature here. You have a creature here. You have a creature here. Let's say you have a creature here. You have a couple creatures like over here. And I'm gonna get like some of their allies. I'm gonna put them in like yellow. There's one of their friends is here, one of their friends is here, one of their buds is like right next to them here. And then they have one other friend who's like up in melee with this guy. What can you do in this instance is my thought. Because you can jump 10 feet. Oh, I've got this on Manhattan. Hang on, let me change it. Because I run Manhattan in my home game because I prefer it. Or generally I prefer it anyway. So you can hop over to here, blast this way. So we'll say you go like over here, and you're sending you just freehand like a blue line, sure, whatever. So blue line going this way. You can then maybe like get over here and blast a line up this way and get these two guys. Like that's a distinct possibility. I don't remember what color I used. Oh no, it was this one. Then I don't know. Yeah, it's just using this is like, I mean, let me go back to Word doc and like reset this Roll20. Let's go 2d6 for now. Yeah, I think that's probably the most sensible way to go about it. Is bringing the damage down, and then we can probably still keep it as a 6th. I think it provides a lot of utility, provides a lot of options, provides a lot of flexibility, but it also the damage is not like crazy high. So I like it though. It's cool. It's a fun spell, and you have to have like a weapon as well. You get like a sword wizard, and you jump around and slash them or whatever. It's just fun. I think I'm going to take a bit of a break here, just because I'm hungry and I haven't like eaten since lunch. So I kind of want to go do that, right? So I am going to go and I'm going to update some of my notes here real quick. But yeah, when I get back, I'm just going to keep going until I feel like stopping. Ish. I'm gonna like go eat some foods. I'm gonna be like 15 minutes or so. Is the general sort of idea. And when I come back, I'll probably have like looked into some more ideas. Want to like look into some bits and pieces, make some like concrete decisions on exactly what I want to do, and yeah, I'm gonna. Either way, I'll be back in like 15 minutes. I'm just gonna grab some food. I'll be going for at least another hour or so at minimum. So yeah, either way, I'll hopefully see some of you in a minute. If you gotta head off, that's all good. Otherwise, I'll be back shortly. See you in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Let me get some music back on, and we will carry on. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna move my dinner out of the way. Oh no. There we go. It's out of frame now, you can't see it. It doesn't exist. There's no plate. There is no plate off screen. Doesn't exist. Oh, right. I need to clear my throat. I should have gotten myself some water before I came back. That was my mistake. I'm going to carry on. Right. I'm going to take a look through my list of ideas and I'm going to see what I want to do next, because I'm not sure. I do have a spell on the list, but I'm not sure. I have a spell idea on here, but I don't think there's a good way to mechanically represent it in a way that isn't super broken, so I may cut it from my list. Spell where everybody rerolls initiative. The problem is there's no real way to do that, or to represent like that without it either being just super broken by giving people 2 turns, or by just being terrible. Okay, right. I have something. Nope. Nova. 8th level evocation. Big spell. Leave it to... Oh, I just opened up a new document by accident. Shit. I was trying to press Control B, but instead I pressed Control N. You unleash an explosive wave of energy. An explosive wave of energy in a 30-foot radius around you. The force of a tiny collapsing star. There we go. Like, each other creature caught in the area. I need to clear my throat, fuck. Oh. So we're talking like raw damage from this spell here. We could probably push it a bit because it's actually kind of hard to use. Just because, you know, it's a 30-foot radius around you, you need to get into a location where you're not catching your friends with this. And then evocation wizards can take advantage of the fact that its damage is kind of pushed and use it without being, you know, scared of killing all their friends. Spell damage. What is the recommended spell damage for an 8th level spell? Let me actually look at other 8th level spells and see if they follow that pattern at all anyway. Well, Sunburst does 12d6, and also blinds. So it needs to be better than that. It needs to do more damage than Sunburst. Because Sunburst also has range, and is also a con save. It's very, very similar, actually. There is a light domain feature that does the same thing. Well, not the same thing. It gives you healing when you heal someone with a spell. Hang on, let me find the name of the feature. Light domain. Say yeah, welcome back. Where is light domain? No, life domain, even life domain. Blessed Healer. When you cast a spell of first level or higher that restores hit points to a creature other than you, regain hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. An important thing to remember about healing, or to maybe learn about healing in 5th edition if you don't already know, is that healing a creature that is conscious for anything less than a lot, and I mean a lot, is bad and you shouldn't do it. So self-healing effects are very cool and are very fun. And something else, slapping that on something like a magic item is fine. But a lot of like self-healing effects are like a lot of I'm trying to maintain a train of thought. But the way healing works in this game is the logic of sort of action economy. And most forms of healing in this game are very minor. Like, they are negligible amounts at basically all levels. It's only like level 1 and level 2 where Healing Word and Cure Wounds restore an amount of hit points that matters. And once you reach sort of 4th level, they heal so little that they could literally heal for 1 and it would be functionally the same. The main reason for that is that most monsters do more damage than those spells can heal. Especially when there's multiple monsters. So it's a very important thing to keep in mind that, like, you know, if you're casting Cure Wounds on another creature that is conscious, then you've just kind of wasted a spell slot and your turn. So it's something very important to keep in mind. Yes. If you heal someone who is unconscious, you have I think it's difficult to perceive what the game would be like if healing was more scalable. But I have a feeling it would. I think. I say this. I don't like to give the designers of 5th edition too much credit, because whilst they are generally pretty good at their job, there are a lot of things that they just had completely overlooked. And I do genuinely think that they probably do now, but certainly when they were designing this system, they didn't necessarily understand the idea that Cure Wounds is a bad spell. Like, Cure Wounds is just a bad spell. If you don't have access to Healing Word, then you should pick it up. But it's just not a good spell. If you have access to Healing Word is just objectively better than Cure Wounds in every way. Like, oh damn, I rolled a d4 instead of a d8. Like, even at level 1, that doesn't matter. That just actively doesn't matter. If it is in any way intentional, which I think there's probably a 50-50 as to whether it is or it isn't, is that they wouldn't have wanted healing to be yes, I think they don't want that. I think they very specifically don't want that to be a thing. Because a main thing to think about is that most enemies have access to the same abilities that you do. If you're fighting an enemy cleric, it's not going to be very fun if the cleric casts a 7th level like Cure Wounds on themselves and just regains all their hit points. Celestial Warlock tank is silly and stupid, and like the actual way you build it is silly and dumb, and I hate it. But it is also very funny that it exists. We can talk about it more in a bit. But yeah, I think the certainly the reason I wouldn't want healing to be, or combat healing, as it were, as I tend to call it, of healing, you know, trying to do sort of like the MMO thing of I want to keep you topped off for healing, of like, you know, like in most other games where casting a minor spell is not much of a resource expenditure, and casting a minor spell a bunch of times doesn't really cost you that much. You know, because that's generally how it works in a lot of games. It's like, you know, if you're playing like an MMO or whatever, you can spend a little bit of your mana or whatever to cast like a minor heal, or whatever it is that your game has, and just cast that 10 times and bring somebody up to full, or use all your potions in Pokemon, like, and that's like no expenditure. In D&D, you have 4 first level spell slots. Once those are gone, they're just fucking gone. Like that's it. And upcasting healing spells, it's like, oh, heal, like cure wounds, it's a D8. That's an average of 4 hit points, assuming you roll a, you know, average. Healing word, it's 2. Like, if you're upcasting healing word, you're using the spell wrong. Like, healing word actively shouldn't scale, because it's a trap. Healing word should not scale. Yeah, healing spirit is a big one. Healing spirit is still pretty okay. The only, I think, good one is heal, which is a 6th level spell, because it actually just gives someone 70 hit points. Sort of obviously the logic is, if I'm going to heal you, and for it to be worth it, I have to heal you for enough damage to prevent you from going unconscious next turn, when you otherwise would. So if someone's on 10 hit points, and you know the enemy does 20 damage per turn, pretty consistently does 20 damage, if you can heal them for, you know, if they on average do 20 damage and your friend has 10 hit points, you want to heal them for at least 25 to 30 hit points. If you can't do that then you shouldn't be healing them, and you have to think about it in that way. And at the same time, you can still just not do that, take your turn as normal, let them go unconscious, and just heal them for whatever on your next turn, and it's still just as effective. It's just as it's still just as efficient, because there's no penalty for going unconscious in this game, like, at all. There's no easy way to prevent it, and there is no penalty. Like, you're unconscious, someone gets you, brings you to consciousness immediately. Like, whatever. If you want to play super cutthroat and have enemies target unconscious creatures, I have one in my game, and if your table calls for it and you know how to implement it in a way that is effective and not annoying, then go for it. I have one in my home game, and I quite like it. I've gotten to see more of it used recently, and I'm genuinely enjoying seeing it used, of it actually, you know, being a thing that is interesting. But I think in a general game, it's not a problem. If it's the kind of thing you want to introduce to your game, your players want to see it, and you don't like the way that it works in base, then go, you know, and you can find a good way to put one in, then put one in. But I don't think the game should just have one flat out, because a lot of people don't want something like that in their game. If there was an optional rule in the DMG, then I'd probably use it. I say that, there is the optional rule for lingering injuries in the DMG, and the optional rule for lingering injuries fucking sucks, so I made my own. But, you know, you understand my sentiment of, I have one, and I use one. Yeah, I mean, that's just how the way the game is designed, really. It's, you can sort of ping pong, you know, sort of flip-flop between being conscious and unconscious indefinitely, and it doesn't matter. And for most people, I was going to say some people, I would say for 90% of players, they either don't care at all or go, that's kind of dumb, but whatever, who cares? Like they kind of recognize it doesn't make any sense and just kind of shrug and get on with their day. And I would wager a bet that that's 90 to 95% of the player base. For the remaining 10%, you know, there isn't a variant rule, and that kind of sucks. But I mean, that's just subpar encounter design on the DM's part. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I would argue that's much more, that's like encounter design as a subpar encounter design. There's plenty of ways to challenge players in combat, and it takes an understanding of game mechanics that a lot of DMs just kind of don't have, and it leads to DMs getting frustrated with players, or players getting frustrated with DMs because the DM or maybe the players don't understand the game on a mechanical level well enough to make a challenging encounter. That's like a legitimate problem. Encounter design is hard, and making a challenging encounter that is challenging but fair is a learned skill. It's actively difficult. For some people it comes naturally, and for some people they learn and they get good at it. But it is still hard. Either you learn how to use the book. I'm paying books off screen. There's some, all my books are like here. Or you learn how to make your own stuff. I do a little bit of both. Mostly the latter. I tend to just make my own monsters and make my own big fancy boss monsters and do all kinds of crazy nonsense, because that's what I like to do. Like I do fucking game design for this game as like a job. So like I at least have some vague grasp on what I'm doing. But yeah, I'll say the like there are also plenty of ways to, like, for players who know how to play this game, to just kind of turn the game on its head. None that are like universally just kind of work. There's like permanent flight, and which is kind of busted. There's a lot of silly powerful spells which anyone with, like, who has the stomach for being like a turbo optimizer can very easily exploit. Players who like to play the game hyper efficiently can turn it into a fucking war of attrition. And for some people that's fun, and for some people it's not. That's just kind of how it is, right? I think the I'm trying to think of, like, I like a blend, I think. I like the occasional tough encounter mixed in with, the occasional encounter that is straight up just fucking cakewalk. Like that's the kind of, like, palate cleanser you want, is like an encounter that is, like, actively really fucking easy. Not one that's, like, painted to be really hard and is then really easy, because that's just unsatisfying. But, like, you're like a level, you're like level 5 characters, you get challenged by a bunch of bandits, and then you just fucking whoop their asses. It's like, that's satisfying. But yeah, so it's like, stuff like that is good fun. But, like, some genuine, like, nail biting challenge, I feel you can reach sort of critical mass on it. It does get a bit much. And certainly for myself as a player, where it's like, you can reach a certain point where, it can become unfun to be at that sort of level of stress. Admittedly, a lot of my frustration in sort of when I have been a player is just in, like, annoying fights. Like, fights that go on for too long, or fights that were really obviously very badly designed, which, is a problem that crops up every so often, and sometimes unavoidably as well. Like sometimes you just roll like shit all night, and the DM rolls amazingly, and everybody just has a bad time. and that's just kind of how that is. But yeah, encounter design is hard. It's a very, very, very long-winded explanation. Sure, encounter design is hard. Had a nail-biting encounter with my group on Saturday. I pitted them against a monster, got a surprise round on them, almost insta-killed one of them. Well, not insta-killed, like insta-KO'd one of them. That person spent the entire fight cowering in a tree, whilst everyone else got the shit ripped out of them, and 2 of them almost died. But they did manage to fight the thing off in the end. Barely. The fight went on for like 3 hours, and it sort of ground down a little bit towards the end. It got a little grindy towards the end, but yeah, it's sort of how it is. Ancestral Guardian Barbarian is, I'm pretty sure is like objectively the best Barbarian subclass now. It's like the one that everybody fucking sleeps on, but it is just actively the best one. It's completely bonkers. It's so good. There is obviously like Bear Totem, which is like, fucking Bear Totem. It's super cringe, but it's, otherwise kind of bananas. But yeah, you rolled like garbage that night. Like that was like. I was like you were neutered by the fact that you like actively couldn't stealth against it because its passive was like so high. I mean, you still could have stealthed. It was like 16 or higher. I think you had to roll to successfully stealth against it. And luckily, it didn't ever actually target you. It didn't get an opportunity to, I don't think. But yeah, it was just like you would just like constantly roll like 11 to hit and like 16 to hit against like a 20 AC creature. It was like, wow, this is not Joe's night. Jesus fucking Christ. It was rough. Eight D6. Let's make it 8D6. Let me check Shatter. Yeah, you guys did not have a great time against Vorinclex on Saturday. Kind of beansed you guys real hard. And I was like, I wasn't feeling super confident about like the ability that I gave to all of the like that faction of creatures where they regain hit points by hitting creatures with attacks. But Vorinclex made it worth it because he would hit someone for 50 damage and then regain like and would regain like 15 hit points off of that single attack, and it was like, oh, okay, that's why I added this ability on, because it's amazing. The spell is incredibly simple, but I do like it. It is an 8th level fireball centered on you. Well, it's 2 fireballs, I guess, because it's 16d6. It has the damage of like a 9th level spell, but in a way I think is probably like pretty reasonable, given that it's like it's very, very high damage for a spell, but it is not not the easiest thing in the world to do, and there are also other non-damaging 8th level spells that are much more effective than this. So I feel like this is a very simple but very fun, like, I'm gonna go in and cast Nova. I'm gonna go Nova and cast Nova. I kind of like that. It's a dumb spell, but I like it. What's the time? That was like 10 to 7. I'm actually currently, like, sitting on, like, a lot of my ideas on my list I'm, like, not super sure of, where, like, they're, like, very conceptual rather than, like, actual, like, mechanical things that I want to do. I could put sticks to snakes in 5e. That could be fun. Oh. I need to clear my throat. Oh. Just trying to, like, stretch and, like, pop all my joints because I have a, like, oh, there we go. I just, like, haven't stood up much today. I need to fill up this water, so I think I'm actually going to go do that. I'll be literally like 30 seconds, so I will be back in just a second. I'm gonna, like, yeah, I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle because I'm really thirsty and I've run out of water. So I'll be back in like 30 seconds. See you in a sec. There we go. I'm back. I've got the tappers out in my upstairs bathroom. I need to go downstairs. No. Like, I went in there, I was like, turning the tap, I was like, wait, shit, my tap is out. So I had to skedaddle. Oh, right. Now, what is on the rest of my list of new spells? Or spell ideas that I haven't done. I have, like, quite a long list, but it's, like, not... I could do sticks to snakes, which I'm not adverse to doing. I want to do a spell that fucks around with proficiency bonus in some way. Maybe two. Like, one that increases proficiency and one that decreases it. I don't know how I would want to do that. Like, I could just do, oh, you suffer a -2 penalty to your proficiency bonus, or it could be like, you know, or it could be like, oh, whenever you make a roll with which you are proficient, roll a d4 and subtract the result from your roll. But it's like, at that point, it's just fucking a worse bane. Like, I don't know what to do for sure. Yeah, I definitely need to, like... It does, yeah. It does sound an amusing spell. I think the main thing is there are lots of spells that already grant, you know, like Borrowed Knowledge gives skill proficiency, and I'm thinking like I think I already have a spell that removes proficiency. I forget what it's called. I don't know what it is. One of the spells we've done, Accordion's Crescent Slash, we've got Gale Blade, we have Nova, and we have Shifting Earth. I'm really happy with Shifting Earth. I think this spell's really interesting. As for like a lot of these older spells, these are in on the Archive of Esoteric Secrets too. For the most part, I think. I think some of them aren't, and will inevitably go into Archive 3. Which, given the amount of spell work I've done recently, is likely to actually come out like towards the end of this year or like the start of next year, which is kind of funny. Is that a bot? No, it isn't. It's a person. That's a human person. Good for them. I just saw like a name I didn't recognize in the chat log, and I was like, bot probably, but no, it is a human person. Cordia's Crescent. So I'm actually like stumped at the moment because a lot of the spells I have in here are like, I'm not really sure if I want to do them, or they're like, but okay, no, this one is kind of fun, so I'll put this one in. Yeah. Syncopate. That's not how you spell syncopate. There's no H. I'm an idiot. I'm not sure what level spell, like abjuration spell this is, but I do know what it does. Casting time, 1 reaction, which you take when you would take damage from a spot. When you would, when whenever you Casting time. Oh, I put that in as rage. Whoops. Range, self. Oh, no, I guess range. 60 feet. Components. VS. Duration. Instantaneous. Classes. This is Bard and Wizard. Oh, I put this in as a... When a spell deals damage to a creature or object within range. You cause a spell to stutter. And miss sequence. How do you... and fall out of sequence. The trigger damage is halved. I'm not sure if that works. The kind of effect that I'm going for is like very obvious, I feel, but I'm not sure if it actually works. When a spell deals damage to a creature or object within range, or to, I guess, one or more creatures or objects. Gains resistance to the triggered damage. Let me check like absorb elements or something. When take which you take when one or more creatures or objects in range take damage from a spell. You cause a spell to stutter and fall out of sequence. Each creature or object within range gains resistance to the triggered damage. Gains resistance to the triggered damage. Spectral defenses. Ooh, yeah, that's like a Horizon Walker thing. Yeah, you're right. Take damage from an attack. There we go. Thank you very much. That does work. Now the question is what level is this spell? I'm feeling a minimum of like 4th or 5th, but I don't actually know. Or maybe it's 3rd as well. Maybe it's something you take this over counter spell when it's like a, or maybe not. I don't know. Like at minimum it's a 3rd, because Second and lower, it's spammable. Third is like an actual, expenditure. Like someone is casting a big, scary spell, and everybody's about to take damage from it. But I guess the main thing is like, I guess counterspell, you have to like know what the spell is. You're countering, because it's a fun thing with counterspell, or maybe a not fun thing if that's how you feel about it, is you're not supposed to know the spell that's being countered before you counter it. Like, someone says, I am casting a spell. Like the DM says, oh, the enemy casts a spell, or you say, I cast a spell. And then you decide then whether you're counterspelling it. If the DM says, obviously if the DM decides to tell you what spell that they're casting, then that's on them. But the way they're actually supposed to do it is they say, I cast a spell, and you're supposed to decide then and there if you want to counterspell it or not before you learn what it is. You could just be countering like a fucking cantrip for all you know. But... Take damage from a spell. Obviously an abjuration spell, because it's like a protection situation. How powerful is this compared to counterspell? I mean, obviously counterspell is better because they just don't cast a spell in the first place, but it also has a chance of just not fucking working. And you have to know what's being cast beforehand. Whereas this is... like, maybe in your party you have someone with counterspell and someone with syncopate. So the person with, the wizard has counterspell and the bard has syncopate. So the wizard counterspells, it doesn't work. Their circle of deaths or whatever still goes through, and you're like, I syncopate the spell and we take half damage. Like, is that stronger or is that weaker than Fireball? Or counterspell even? I don't know. Especially because the two classes that get it can get counterspell. Wizard gets it natively, and bard can pick it up as a magical secrets. Is this spell good? Is it bad? I feel like the thing is if this spell is a second, it's infinitely spammable. And it's obviously not weak enough to be a first, because it's, very good. Like, maybe you could limit it to a single target and make it a first, but then it's just absorb elements, but slightly better, so, no, you can't. Or not even slightly, just objectively better than absorb elements, so it can't be a first. If you make it a second, then it's probably still just better than absorb elements. Is this the kind of spell that just shouldn't exist? Because it doesn't, counterspell as a thing? I don't know. Legitimately, I don't know. I think power level wise, it's probably a third. It's sort of the same kind of level as it's not as good as counterspell, but it can't be a second. So I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to red text the entire thing of do I even want to make this? Do I even want to put this in? Because I don't know. I'm leaning towards no, but I don't know. I think it's risky. In the sense of, I feel like this spell is potentially just useless, which sucks and isn't fun. Or less that it's useless and more that it is completely outclassed in every way by counterspell. But if you were to make it any lower, it would just completely outclass absorb elements, which has a niche as a very cool and very interesting and just generally very good spell. So I don't know. This is a red text one right here. Right. Where even is that in my list? Oh, it's there. I think here might actually be a fairly reasonable place to stop. Just because, I don't want to keep, fumbling for ideas, because that's no fun. I think sort of umming and ahhing on the power level of a spell is fine, but like just sitting around just like trying to come up with ideas is like not fun. Nor is it engaging in any capacity whatsoever. So I think I will probably head off here. I'm gonna see if there's anyone to raid. There is not. I'll see if there's anyone like streaming Homebrew. Like, the answer is almost undoubtedly no. Let's have a gander. 10 quintillion actual plays. Some world building stuff. Yeah, no, there's like no one. But yeah, I will be back on Wednesday because I'm going to carry on with Sword. I posted an update on Twitter. Sunday Pokemon streams are going to have to... Something's going to have to change about them because my Monday game has permanently moved to every other week on a Sunday. And I don't want to have to alternate my schedule every week on a Sunday because that's annoying. So instead, I think what I'm going to do is I'm either going to move the Pokemon streams to in the evening on a Sunday, which I don't really want to do, so I'm probably not going to do that, or I'm going to move them permanently to a Wednesday afternoon and use Sunday evening or afternoon as the sometimes stream. But again, that is just a maybe at the moment. I'm not 100% on that yet. It does make my stream schedule a little cleaner though. It means I'm like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, rather than like Monday, Friday, Sunday, which is like, why? That sucks. You get Friday, Sunday, Monday, and then it's like 4 fucking days again. As opposed to the 3 day, I actually like use my weekend or whatever. But that's probably what I'm going to do, but I'm not 100%. But yeah, next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. Like, I'm actually like not sure at all. I have like a number of like ideas I want to do, but I don't want to just jump out of having just done like a 13-part like ongoing series of shit. Because whilst they are fun to do, they fucking annihilate viewership, frankly. And after a while, I just want them to be over and done with. So yeah, I don't want to dive into another one anytime soon, but I'm not 100% sure what I want to do in the meantime. I do have like some writing stuff that I would like to do on stream, but that's like work, like it is work that I need to get done rather than like, something fun that I kind of want to do, and it doesn't matter if I get like a bunch done or not. It's just kind of a chill thing. I do want to look at more of the D&D wiki, because the D&D wiki makes me laugh, because it's a bad place for terror and darkness. Honestly, I might actually I'm talking about it now, and it is that I've done it twice before, and it's very funny, so I kind of want to do it again. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that next week, because we're going to look at the D&D wiki, and for anyone who's not acquainted, it's going to be a treat. It's going to be a treat. Get ready for just my rule for the D&D wiki is that the D&D wiki is where good ideas go to die. And sometimes it's also just a place for bad ideas made by people who don't know how to make anything. There's also a lot of that, but my charitable sort of thing for the wiki is that a lot of people on there have really great ideas and just do not have the ability to execute them, and no one provides feedback, so they just sit there lingering in the void. So we're gonna look at that next week, I think. Yeah. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like actually excited for it. So I'm like, yeah, that's indication enough that we should. So I'm gonna. But yeah, I'm gonna head off here. Hope folks have enjoyed themselves. I'll be back on Wednesday for some like sword stuff. I do want to do the Arceus update at some point. I don't know when I'm gonna do that though. But I'll find out. I've almost finished the Pokedex, actually, so I'm actually, like, I can finish the game soon as well. Like, I can potentially do it this Friday, but I don't want to skip out on my Skyward Sword stream. I'm about to do the Ancient System, and apparently that dungeon's, like, the best one in the entire game, so I don't know, whatever. Well, I'll work it out. Either way, I'm gonna head off here. Hope folks have enjoyed themselves. I will hopefully see you next week, or later on this week, or whatever. See ya.